Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's video, I want to go through a marketing campaign which most people in Britain and across the world don't even realize was a marketing campaign. And it was so successful, it actually created a law and additional romanticism with a centuries old, not very spectacular English dish. And I'm talking about the ploughman's lunch, which has a very storied history and difference. So, for those who don't know what a ploughman's lunch is, it is traditionally a cold meal made up of bread, cheese, onions, pickled onions. It's often accompanied also by pickles, butter, grapes, celery, celeriacs. It's basically a smorgasbord traditionally served on a wooden chopping board in British pubs, restaurants. It's a staple of British culture, of British foods, and it is very particularly associated with sort of pub dining, tavern dining, that sort of thing, not the upper class restaurant end. So the simple idea of a simple meal for ploughmen can be dated back to medieval times. So there's a 1394 text which is called Pierce of a Ploughman's Creed, and it mentions bread, cheese, and ale as a ploughman's meal. Now, by the 19th century, farmers were regularly consuming these foods, and they were also common in pubs and other kind of restaurants establishments, and they were seen very much as a very easy, satisfying, varied lunch, living off a lot of materials and foods around them. So the original concept of actually combining bread, cheese, and beer, as I said, can date back centuries and centuries. However, the actual term ploughman's lunch is believed to have been popularized in the 1950s and was largely due to a marketing campaign by the British Milk Marketing Board, which aimed to boost cheese post or cheese consumption and cheese sales post World War II, when cheese rationing had just been ended. So, for some context, in Britain, we had rationing post World War II up until 1954. So, we were one of the last countries to actually dissolve rationing and go back to a normal trade system. So, what evidence do we have actually around this and to confirm these theories and ideas? So, I believe it was around the 2010s, the BBC was making a television show called Balderdash and Piffle. I appreciate all my American listeners are now wondering if this is real. Yes, we genuinely had a show in the UK called Balderdash and Piffle. And there was evidence offered up by former employees of a milk marketing board, as well as the programme's own researchers found minutes from a marketing meeting of the milk marketing board dating back as far as the 1950s and 60s. And in the meeting minutes, they mentioned a budgetary provision for printing 5,000 Ploughman's Lunch show cards for specific distribution around English pubs and alehouses. From this, we learnt and can actually fully assume that the Ploughman's Lunch was invented as a marketing ploy by the Milk Marketing Board to increase the sales of cheese, specifically in pubs and public restaurants. Now, the Milk Marketing Board worked to reintroduce this meal to the public. Their efforts actually paid off, and by the 1960s, it was a very popular pub offering. Cheese consumption had increased massively. By the 1970s, the Ploughman's Lunch saw an even bigger surge in popularity, and that was partly due to a cultural movement that started to romanticize traditional English life. The meal then became synonymized and seen as a nostalgic nod to simpler times, resonating with the public and kind of rebuilding that connect with British countryside. And the romantic view of the British countryside and traditional English life is something that is portrayed in media all the world over, even in modern times and modern media's films, etc. So, in terms of the wider cultural impact outside of that, The Ploughman's Lunch actually inspired a 1983 film titled The Ploughman's Lunch, which actually explored themes of historical revisionism and very much mirroring how the meal itself was reintroduced to fit contemporary needs and effectively be a successful marketing campaign to increase the consumption of cheese and British cheeses, of which there are approximately 700 of them, I believe, from the research and reading I did behind this, in British culture at the time, and increased consumption and effectively money flow going into dairy farmers and dairy production. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope this was a nice bit of marketing trivia and a nice bit of a marketing campaign that actually worked quite well and has stood the test of time over decades, and even created its own additional lore and romanticism around it. So if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more interesting kind of campaigns that worked and other little insights into marketing, which I don't think you even realized was marketing, please give the video a like, hit the subscribe, and please let me know in the comments your views and other ideas of things and other campaigns which you'd like me to cover in this ad hoc little series I'm going to be doing. Thank you very much for watching.